Land, airspace, surface, water, and mineral rights. Land includes four things: airspace, surface rights, water rights, and mineral rights. Airspace is the space in the air above the property to a reasonable height. Think of a multi-story building. The 14th floor is still part of the property, even though it is way up in the air. Surface rights include the area of land. Water rights include surface water, percolating water, and water rights that, quote, go with the land, end quote, like, end quote, or, quote, reasonable use, end quote. Mineral rights include any minerals under the ground. Federal Open Market Committee, parentheses, FOMC, and parentheses. 12-member board conducts open market operations. The Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, often called the Fed, works to establish and promote a healthy national economy. The Fed does this through adjusting the discount rate, which is the rate at which the government loans money to banks to, in turn, loan to those who need loans, adjusting the reserve requirement for member banks, and open market operations. Open market operations is the buying and selling of government securities like government bonds. Open market operations are conducted by the Open Market Committee. The Fed can stimulate the economy by buying government bonds, which puts money into the economy. The Fed can sell bonds, which pulls money back out of the economy, possibly slowing it. The Open Market Committee is composed of 12 voting members, the 7 members of the Federal Reserve Board, and 5 of the 12 Federal Reserve Bank presidents. The Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, conducts open market operations to promote a healthy national economy. Related words: open market operations, Fed. Contemporary. Simple, clean, flat roofs, architectural style. Real estate agents need to have a general idea of different home styles. Some of the many popular options include Mediterranean, California bungalow or craftsman, contemporary or modern, ranch, Tudor, Cape Cod, Victorian, and Pueblo. The contemporary or modern style of architecture is characterized by flat roofs, straight, clean lines, and overall simplicity. Related words: modern. Interest-only loan. Loan on which only interest is paid, the principal remains. An interest-only loan is exactly what it says: a loan on which only interest is paid, and therefore the principal balance of the loan remains unpaid, and the same throughout the life of the loan. Why would someone want such a loan? Most likely the borrower wants to keep his payments to a minimum and only plans to take the loan for a short period of time, after which he probably wants to refinance into a loan which pays both principal and interest. Short-term loans like construction loans, which are also called bridge loans, are often interest-only, as they will be refinanced later. An interest-only loan is a loan on which only interest is paid. The principal remains. Red flag. Sign of a problem to a reasonably observant person. A red flag is a sign of a problem to a reasonably observant person. Some examples may include diagonal cracks, parentheses, shear cracks, and parentheses, at the corners of interior door frames, which may signal a structure with not enough lateral strength. A hillside with parallel fissures indicating the possible movement of earth. Stains on the ceilings of interior rooms indicating leaks in the roof, either past or active. While agents are not required to investigate, in general, red flags signal required further investigation. The phrase, parentheses, quote, as is, end quote, means the seller is not willing to pay to repair defects. It does not remove the burden of disclosure. Equity. Market value minus loan value. Equity is market value of a property minus any current debt on the property. If the market value is $580,000 and a first trust deed, parentheses, often called mortgage even when it technically might not be, end parentheses, of $280,000, 580,000 minus 280,000 equals 300,000 in equity. Remember that market value is what a ready, willing, and able buyer will pay. Also keep in mind that loan value could be several loans, liens, unpaid back taxes, and other liabilities. In general, though, equity is market value minus loan value. As is. The seller not responsible for the cost of any required repairs. Many sellers will sell their property, quote, as is, end quote. This means that the seller is not willing to pay for any required repairs. It does not mean that there are no required repairs, and it certainly does not relieve the seller and her agent from disclosing all known issues, defects, and problems with the property, which might be material information. Remember that material information is any information that might make a buyer decide not to buy the property. Material information must be disclosed by law, and most lawsuits after the purchase are in regard to undisclosed material information. Because no one can know what is material information to one buyer or another, all known issues with a property are to be disclosed. The phrase, quote, as is, end quote, means the seller is not willing to pay for any required repairs. Related words, material information, disclosure. Landlord, property owner, lessor. Landlord is a word used in common speech to mean pretty much what it is: the owner of a property who rents the property to a tenant or lessee. In actuality, the landlord could also be a property manager or agent doing the work of the landlord on behalf of the owner or owners. The word landlord has had negative connotations over history, as landlords have wrongly used the power of land ownership to abuse tenants. Parentheses, tenants have and do abuse landlords too, end parentheses. Landlords, parentheses, called lessors, end parentheses, are typically property owners who or managers who sign a lease with tenants, parentheses, called lessees, end parentheses. Due diligence. Process of full examination. Due diligence is a process through which all aspects can be dutifully examined. The phrase fits complicated processes best. For example, when buying a business, the process involves investigating customers, suppliers, inventory, systems, financing, human resources, parentheses, employees, and parentheses, real estate, logistics, etc. The process is so complicated we need to do our due diligence to investigate all aspects of the transaction to make sure nothing is overlooked. The consequences of overlooking something may mean disgruntled buyers or sellers, later resulting in possible lawsuits and maybe even the demise of the business. Due diligence is the name for the process of full examination, so there are not later regrets. Wainscoting or wainscoting. Lower third of interior wall covered in plywood paneling. Wainscoting is a type of wall covering that has the lower portion of the wall covered in wood paneling and the top portion of the wall covered in some other material. Wainscoting usually applies to interior walls. Wainscoting usually has the wood paneling portion being the bottom third or half of the wall. The upper portion material is usually drywall. The wood paneling portion is often capped with a horizontal piece of wood, parentheses, called a dado rail or chair rail, end parentheses, used to cover the installation of the wood paneling pieces, and also acts as a bump guard, especially for chairs. The wood paneling often has a vertical slat look created by tongue and groove paneling, which produces a visually stimulating series of vertical lines capped with a horizontal line, and then painted drywall above the wood paneling. The distance between the vertical lines is flexible from a few inches to several feet, with some wood paneling being a series of ornate molding strips.